Hey guys, welcome to this video that I would consider probably to be the most important topic that needs light shedding on it. I think uh, save the arts. Obviously it's a very big thing at the moment, especially with coronavirus. I'm joined by someone you may be very familiar with from Roses Reds, Noah,
Nice to see you.
and we're just going to be sharing our kind of general take on the whole situation. I'm very cinema heavy, and I know Noah's very theatre heavy. So, just to start, I'm just curious to know what your general thoughts are on the whole situation regarding theatres.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's you can't. Every industry at the start of lockdown had to be treated the same. They all had to obviously shut down, and for the safety of everyone. So you can't. That's fair enough. I'm not saying that theatre should have remained open, regardless, because they're safe environments. But I think where the issue is that. I don't feel that the people working in theatres, in the industry as a whole, obviously not just theatres, cinema, like you mentioned, TV, um, I don't think they were well supported by the government. I don't think there were schemes in place, particularly for artists. And obviously, if we quickly jump forward to more recent times, comments that Rishi Sunak has made,
Yeah,
it's clear that there's certainly some people in government that don't value us and don't and feel that we're not important enough and have proper jobs. So
yeah, I think it's interesting because I think Rishi failed to account for the fact that some of us are probably more qualified than them. That could be a good insult. I think shutting at the start of lockdown, cases were very high. It was perfect. It made perfect sense because I don't think anywhere was safe. I mean, it was just like the death toll was very high, etc. Just nothing was really suitable for opening. But I think, kind of looking at it from a film aspect, I think I a lot of people blamed kind of Christopher Nolan's Tenet for reopening because they're saying, "Oh, you kind of just delaying the inevitable in a way," and it's like a lot of people just had reasons, but I kind of admire him for that because at least he had the balls to say, "I'm going to release this. We're going
yeah,
to try an audience." It may not have landed the commercial success, but at least he tried. And I think the problem we've got is that we're in such a case where a lot of studios are just they're afraid. And I can understand now why Bond delayed. I was very dead against it at the start because I
mm,
thought you would have had an audience for this, especially with things like the curfew and theatres not opening, because it's like
yeah,
play it on every screen possible. You could really, I think it would have broken even, especially the fact that James Bond is a British icon.
of course.
But yeah, theatres, I think they do, like, I've been to the cinema a few times. Probably I might have gone my last time last week to see Saint Maud, but they're perfectly safe. I find the way they're
Yeah,
structured, they always leave a good seat distance. I've not sat close to anyone in the whole time I've been back.
yeah. I mean, obviously, certainly, like you say, with cinemas, they are almost always have been socially distanced. It's very rare in a cinema that
Yeah,
you're next to someone that you don't know. I mean, obviously, if it's a massive premiere, fair enough. But
yeah,
9 times out of
definitely.
10, it's been socially distancing before we even knew about it. Obviously, you can have a different argument with theatre, and that's fair enough. But it's something that sort of that always plays on my mind is things that the government still allows people to travel on on airlines and things like that
Yeah.
in closed spaces where oxygen circulates and things like that,
Mm.
and it's I'm not, if they feel that's safe, fine. It's not my place to say whether or not
Yeah,
it was they're the
100%.
experts. But if that is safe, surely a theatre is as well.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think you can make it safe very easily. I think adapt the shows in a way that they can be seen by people and no one's in danger the whole time. It's very
Mm,
calm. People don't feel in danger at any point.
definitely, yeah.
The
And
plane. Oh, sorry, you go first.
no, I was going to say that you can I'm aware of certain shows that are already trying to push to open. I know that NIMAX theatres are recently announced that they're opening some of their shows one at a time, which for me personally is great as a theatre fan. And what's good as well is they're not just doing it for the sake of, oh, we need a show to put on. Yes, I think that is something that as a country we could all do with maybe, but also as well they're being smart about it. They're saying you can only come if you book tickets in your bubble, and you have to wear a mask, and you have to sit here, and if you want to order drinks, you can't go up to the bar, you have to do it beforehand. And it sounds like they're doing it just as safe as a restaurant, or just as safe as anywhere really. And it just confuses me why theatres and the industry as a whole seems to be an exception as to why they're not allowed to open.
I think it's interesting because I think, as you said, the theatres are like, obviously, I think they are safe. There's just nothing being done. I don't hear enough of the arts being spoken about at all. It's just there's no light being shed on it. It's very just looked over, I'd say, more than anything. It's not, oh, let's get theatres back. There's no urgency. I think people need arts for being just basically enriched, entertained.
Exactly, because let's not forget, it's not just theatre and it's not just cinema. It's the art as a whole is such a broad term. Music. I'm sure that every single person listens to music, and I also am sure that every single person who was able to watch some sort of show, be it on Netflix, be it on whatever streaming service you use, during lockdown, before lockdown. If you were to tell me that you've never listened to music and you've never watched TV or seen a film or anything, I would find that very hard to believe. And that all comes under arts. And the issue, as well as the fact that places like theatres weren't allowed to open when other places could, the issue also is the support from the government. They clearly don't seem to appreciate the arts at all. No fund, little to no funding, and they only decided to give us sort of a funding package when we pushed for it, when we really sort of said we need this money. Why did it have to come to that?
I think I'll go to a topic you mentioned about the funding package, because obviously Cineworld's basically gone now, and only a few of them open on like weekends. Like, I think from what hearing with Cineworld, I don't want to say it's true, but a rumor, I don't think they earned as much money as they should have, or they received as much as they should have, shall I say. I think they didn't get a lot of help from the government. It was mainly kind of on independent cinemas. The big franchise cinemas were kind of left in a way, I would say, in a way to fend for themselves.
Well, I mean, that's sort of how it's been. I mean, again, I mentioned the point of just people involved in the industry. They all had to sort of fend for themselves from the start of lockdown. No support packages from the government for them. They were like exempt from the furlough scheme, and that's a even more reason why they pushed for things like this to be open sooner rather than later, because they're not getting any income, or they're getting very, very little income. And not to say that everyone else was getting loads, but theirs was significantly less or none compared to others. And because of that, they were like, well, I need to work, or I need to do something, because I'm doing nothing and getting nothing.
Yeah, certainly. It's very it's horrible to see kind of like all these people just out of work. Basically, people now only kind of really starting to recover, just get back on track. I know shows like the big American ones. I know some filmmakers who I'm in contact with on Twitter. They've just started filming, and you just think that whole kind of months you thought there could have been something done about it. The whole month delay. It's only now it's really kind of starting to, if anything, just pick up. If anything, but I think the tiers thing is something interesting, because I just think with the lockdowns they're imposing, I don't think they take into consideration the fact that hospitality as a whole is very safe. I don't think, because you're socially distanced, I don't think you're ever in any danger. I just think it's a bit extreme in a way. I could get it.
Yeah, obviously the government, they at the end of the day, they want to limit the number of cases and a number of deaths and stuff, which of course is understandable. But I think, like you say, the places like, all the hospitality places are doing as much as they can to the best of their ability to stay open, and they seem to be doing everything right. Providing hand sanitizer, making sure that everything's
100%.
done online, and that you limit to the absolute minimum any physical contact with anyone. And even then, you probably, the only physical contact you have with someone is someone in your bubble, maybe,
Yeah,
or no
definitely.
one. You have no reason to be that close to anyone else. So yeah, I think that's a valid point. Obviously, they want to make sure it's all safe, but it sort of already is, and
Yeah, it is.
it's almost like they're just sort of chucking these phrases like tier 2 and things like that for the sake of it, when in reality, what are you changing? Okay, you know, bars and restaurants have to close at an earlier time, but you know, I'm sure we've seen videos and stuff of all that means now is everyone
Yeah,
congregates in one
I've
area
seen it as
outside
well.
of
Yeah,
pubs and restaurants, so that, if anything, that just makes it worse. So yeah, it's a strange one. It's a strange one.
yeah. COVID doesn't travel through alcohol and 10 p.m. So just
No,
thought
of
I'd let you
course.
know on that. Allows
And
that you guys
it
know on
doesn't
that.
it doesn't go to schools or work either.
I know
You know,
it's just.
it respects that you're in education.
I think if anything, bizarrely, I know this might seem a bit weird, but I think if anything, like schools, universities, you might be in a bit more danger because you're with more people.
Well, I mean, I'm sure
That's very
we
objective, so
yeah, I
subject.
mean, we heard and we've seen, and the rising cases when universities started not too long ago. Me personally, I don't know about you, but I've got a lot of mates who have been to various universities this year, around the country, particularly Nottingham. I know Nottingham had a massive rise in
Yeah,
cases. Um, you know, a few of my mates got it up north in Leeds. I think there was some cases in Wales, which obviously, you know, Wales are doing their own thing to England, but still university. Because yeah, same as schools, really. I never really understood, if you're going to open the schools, then open everything, because they're probably one of the one of the last places you should open. You can't, you there's only so much you can do
yeah,
to prevent contact with other people, and in some cases you have to have contact. You know, if you're
yeah,
doing,
definitely.
like, I don't know, like physical education, for example. I mean, you know, I know it's maybe not compulsory, but people could be doing PE for GCSEs, for example, and maybe they need to. Oh yeah, I don't know, but there's so many people in such a small area traveling to and from lessons in corridors, and university as well. You know, realistically, you've got people of a similar age to us who, are you going to trust them to not enjoy themselves? I'm not saying they have to break
Yeah,
the rule of six, but they're at university. These are meant to be, you know, like the greatest years of their lives. They're going to want to at least go out, obviously, you know, following the rules, but they will be out and they will be doing stuff, and then going to lessons afterwards in larger groups of more than six. So
yeah.
yeah.
Lot to take in there, especially
Yeah,
with me
sorry, I
being
threw a lot of that at you. Sorry.
me being a university student as well. I think, yeah, although I am in campus, like I'm like off on in a way. I'm like 1 week I'm in, 1 week I'm not. It
Mm,
feels like obviously a lot of it is very online because I do a lot of prep beforehand.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I think it's one of those things where if you kept hospitality open, say till through like right through till December, and all unis were online, no one left their houses, no one was safe, moved out to accommodation. I think that would have lowered the cases considerably because it was like leading into a death trap, kind of telling people, "Oh, it's safe to go."
mm. And yeah, I always saw I mean, you know, I say I always saw a second lockdown coming. Okay, we're maybe not in a
Yeah,
full-on second lockdown, but there are signs of it. And you know, obviously,
yeah,
areas like Liverpool, Manchester, they're in the sort of top tier of affected areas. And it was obvious. I mean, you know, I feel like if people like us can see that it was going to happen, surely the MPs in Parliament and Boris and whoever would have been able to tell that as well. It seems like common sense, which maybe some of them lack.
yeah,
But yeah, it's stupid. It's, you know, a lot of stupid mistakes. And I think if you look at how other countries handle it, I'm not saying there's, you know, maybe there isn't a perfect way to handle it. It's
yeah,
unprecedented time, of course, but it's not that hard to look at how another country does something and go, okay, maybe that's not perfect. Yes, they're still going to get cases, but it's much better than what we're doing. Let's try and see what they did. I mean, New Zealand's an easy example. They, in my opinion, handled the outbreak
yeah, definitely.
superb.
They've
Mm,
really just lowered Like you think you barely get into, you don't really get any at all.
Yeah. And if they can do it, why can't we? Okay, yes, maybe they have a less population and areas that aren't maybe as dense as our country, but they did something right.
Yeah, I think like just Johnson, Hancock, Gary Williamson are the three stooges. Well, there's multiple stooges, but they're the top three. You just think
Certainly, yeah.
test and trace. I mean, it doesn't feel like we should go into a lockdown so they can fix the app, because that's on them, not us.
Yeah, no,
But
exactly. I mean, yeah,
I,
why
will-
would we have to
I
do
will
that?
say the app is very it tells you the exposure, like possible exposure, but it doesn't tell you there on the spot. So you get it
Mm,
like when you're at home and you think, huh? Have
mm,
my family got to go?
no, exactly. It's not.
It's kind of
It's not great. It's you see what they're trying to do, but it just that wasn't working. And I think I'm slightly backtracking here, but I think you obviously you named some people there who I think are to blame, if you
yeah,
will.
definitely.
I think an obvious one as well is Dominic Cummings. I
Yeah.
mean, what he did so early on in lockdown and then received no punishment for it.
Yeah.
It's like Boris says, oh, well, he can do that. And I'm not necessarily defending people that broke lockdown rules, but it almost makes sense for people, the British public, to
Yeah.
go, oh, well, if he can break lockdown rules
If
and
it,
not
yeah, I totally agree.
repercussions, I'll do it. And I'm not,
Totally
again, I'm
agree.
not defending that. You should follow the rules, but I can understand why they go, well, he's fine, so fine, I'm going to go here, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to meet this many people. Because Boris, as a leader, should say, Dominic broke the rules, not on, he's gone. But he didn't. And so that sparked, God knows what. You can say whatever you want about where that led, whether that's, but for me, I think he's someone who's also massively to blame. I think particularly if you're looking at people that broke the rules,
Yeah, I think it
because he was like the first one to do it, one of the first ones to do it.
definitely, and I think several others have done it since, and you do feel one will for them, one will for everyone else.
Yeah,
And
literally.
it's very unfair. You think, because those pictures. Oh well, I don't want to get. I'm not going to get too political because the video was Save the Arts. I think we might have covered everything that we need to, so it's probably a last thing before we head off. Any If any of you guys who are watching this have got any local cinemas open, do check out Unhinged, Tenet, Saint Maud, New Mutants. I wish I could list you more, but unfortunately, I don't know if there's any theatre shows, because I know they are starting to do something in
Yeah,
December you
yeah.
want to give a shout out to.
So I've managed to get some tickets to see Six, which is opening at the Lyric next month. Obviously, a lot of them are London based, but if your local theatres are finding a way to try and stay open, support them all you can, even if they're not putting on shows at the minute, try and help them in any way possible, whether it's financially or just getting them out, getting their name out there, putting them up on social media, giving them some recognition, maybe anything at all. Because I mean, I know obviously Cineworld in the cinema industry has suffered, and many individual theatres around the country, particularly ones that aren't in London, have suffered as well.
Yeah. I think we'll leave it there. So,
Brilliant.
Save the Arts, very message that we need to get across. I think
Definitely.
it just listen to us, listen to all of us. People who love the arts, people who have the passion. They're never going to lose the passion, and we're not going to stop with all our messages, all our posts. And I think we'll leave it there.